We watched Todoroki, waiting for a response. He looked as if he was thinking. She said something along the lines of, he wants to see him son again, and you are my ticket to him? Izuku and I looked at each other before back at him. Who is looking for their son? Izuku asked. Don't know. That's all I know. All I know is that the boss wants his son back. Saying our goodbyes to Todoroki and wishing him the best, we made our way quickly as we could back to the train station. We had around an hour to get back home before school would end, and we would need to meet at home, of course, or else it would be suspicious. I was already grounded, as it was for going to Izuku's house for the night and not telling Mom. Who do you think the son is? I looked over to Izuku as he got comfortable in the train seat. Not sure. We will need to wait a little longer, I guess, he said, looking down to the ground. I opened my notebook and read through the notes I had written down from Todoroki. All we have so far is that someone must be sending out villains to attack UA students to get their son back, I said questionably, as I looked up from my book. Seems so, Izuku said as he just looked out the window. Did he not care? Or was he just not in the mood? He didn't look like he was in the talking mood, so I just kept silent. I decided to pull up my camera as I looked through the photos that I had taken earlier. I saw one of me and Sue swimming in the lake. Then there was one of us running away from an angry Katsuki. There was another of Katsuki and me as we were in a small mall, and Katsuki looked grumpy at all the cute stuff. The photos kept coming of me and my friends. And I saw the one I took earlier, Izuku and I on the train, holding up peace signs. I smiled at the photo, feeling my gaze soften. I looked over at him and noticing his features as I did that night at his house. He turned around to look at me and blushed profoundly when he realized I was looking at him, and I quickly looked away and did the same on accident. The rest of the trip was quite silent and awkward once more. We walked to our respective houses, still and silent. I tried to catch Izuku's eyes multiple times, but he just kept his head down. It felt like he was avoiding me in a way. I began to feel my spit drop as we continued to walk. The wind began to slightly pick up in the moment, and the clouds overhead began to grow dark. I quickly slapped a smile on my face. It's going to be okay. He's not avoiding me. He's just a shy, awkward kid who, well, how do I put this? I don't think he has many friends aside from the ones he talks to in the class. As I took a deep breath, the weather slowly calmed once more, keeping my weakness hidden. Well, I'm off, I said quietly to him as I began towards the platform for the train. All right, see ya, Izuku said before keeping his head down and making his way towards his platform. I boarded the train and stood up, holding onto the railing as I just thought. Ever since he had that private talk with Todoroki, he's been keeping his head down. What did Todoroki say? If he was upset, why doesn't he trust me enough to tell me? I felt myself grow angry when I realistically shouldn't have. What if it was something just between them? Something that only guys should know? Was it about me? Or someone else? I remember us gathering our bags as we were ready to go until Todoroki spoke up. Hey, can I talk to you, Midoriya, in private for a moment? Nothing personal, Lin. I looked down before saying all right, and after that, Midoriya looked pretty upset. I had waited out in the hall, but I wasn't that mean to overhear their conversation. But here I was, walking the rest of the way home before reaching my house. I walked inside and removed my shoes before trudging to my room. Yin, is that you? I heard a voice call me. No way getting out of this now, Yeah, it's me, I said in probably a much more higher tone than usual. How was school? She asked as she reached the staircase and looked up at me from the floor as I stood halfway up. Good? I squeaked once more, feeling a bead of sweat form from my forehead. Are you sure? She asked as guilt was plastered on my face. Yeah, I said, turning to make my way up the stairs again. Yen, she said, and I turned to face her again. You look stressed. Are you sure everything is okay? It's not school, is it? I sighed before realizing that I wasn't actually that worried about what had happened the day when it came to ditching school. Something else was weighing on me. Well, it's nothing to do with school, just friends, I mumbled, and she looked at me apologetically before saying, Do you want to talk about it? I gave her a weak smile before saying, Not right now, but thanks. She just returned my smile, letting me know that I could go with a slight nod to her head. And when I got to my room, I threw my bag on the floor and looked in the mirror. Mom was right. There is nothing to be worried. There is nothing wrong, right? No, there is something wrong. What is it, though? It then hit me. Recently, Izuku has been looking a little down. It's making me feel like I'm not doing my job properly as a friend. I looked at myself in determination. I'm going to do something super fun with Izuku on the weekend. Maybe that can help cheer him up. Back at the hospital with Izuku and Todoroki. As Yen and I were packing our bags, Todoroki had suddenly spoken up. Before you go, could I talk to you, Midoriya, for just a moment, privately? Nothing personal with you, Yulin. I saw her cheerful smile slowly drop, ever so slightly, and then quickly come back into her usual smile. All right. And she made her way out of the room, shutting the door behind her. It was quiet for a moment in the room, just the two of us. I didn't know what he was going to say or do. Was it something about skipping school? Something else? Or did he know more about this villain and just didn't want to tell Yin? So, what is it? I turned to Todoroki, slightly shivering as I did so. But all I could see was his stoic face, unreadable, just like always. It's about Yin.